Hello, and good evening, folks. I wanted to shoot out a little tutorial for people today. I built a little program called the Hyperspin Manager. So, a little quick overview. Hyperspin is a front end for emulators and media management. It allows you to essentially launch all of your emulators and your games in one holistic interface. Um, Hyperspin is a wonderful piece of software that allows so much configuration and so much actual personalization. Um, in doing so, it is an incredibly manual workflow. So I've created this program to help people and help myself rename the thousands upon thousands upon thousands of files you will likely need to rename and spend hundreds of hours doing so. So quick little overview. Here's the actual help menu. So it's a command line program. It's Python, and it is essentially will run on any Unix-based operating system. So Unix, OS X, Linux, any flavor, and it should run on Python 2.x whatever. So quick overview. You got a little usage here, and this shows you a little uh, example of it being run through the command line. So you got commit, database, generate, input, rename, help as your actual options. So essentially, let's give a quick little thing here. Um, if we take a look at this right here, this I am passing in the database option with the path to the database as the argument, the input option, and then the actual path to the input directory. And I am giving it the rename option, which doesn't actually take any arguments. So what this is going to do is it's going to read in this database file, grab all the games, grab all the information, etc., and then it's going to recursively scan this directory for just items in this system. So let's just go ahead and run it and see how it does. So one important thing to pay, as you see, I did not give it the commit option, which means if you do not ever specify commit, its default mode is dry run. So it's always going to dry run and show you what you are going to do first and foremost. So what it did here is it actually went out and it shows you the path that it found a file that needs to be renamed. So here's the source that would need to be renamed and what it would get renamed to. There's quite a few here. So if we take a look at the few of the other things that we've got, if we type in the -G option, which would be generate, and then we give it a missing, it is going to show me all of the games that are not in my directory that are in the database. So essentially it goes through and parses that stuff out. And in dry run mode, it just prints to standard out. So if we take a look here and we commit, well, let's not bother committing. Let me show you where this is going to land first. Here's the directory structure for the Hyperspin Manager. So as you see here, we got a data with subdirectories. Catalog, database, exclude, log, missing, rollback now. Not all of these are currently being used, but will be in the future. So if we go back here and we go ahead and commit this missing list, what's going to happen is it's just going to go ahead and create that file, as you can see. So let's take a gander, and there it is. Let's open this up, and bam, you have the Atari Jaguar. It's missing list. So I find this extremely helpful when I need to go scavenge for the things that I don't have, right? So go ahead and get rid of that, get rid of that. Now, if we go back here, we just did the missing list, so let's generate out a catalog. This is one of my favorite features of it, as it's been incredibly helpful. So if we run that in dry run mode, once again printing to standard out, to break this down for you, what this does is it searches that directory structure recursively for this game and finds all of the actual associated files with it. So if you take a look here, this is a pretty big one that actually has a lot of files. How this works is it actually uses the directory it finds it in as the key, and then the file itself as the value. So as you can see here, I've got a 2D box art, a 3D box art, a wheel, a video, and a ROM. All right, so there you go. So this is really nice when you're trying to identify things that you're just kind of lacking and you're missing, right? So like bam, this thing has a wheel and that's it. So it gives you a nice overview. And once again, if we commit that, it's going to go ahead and generate out us this file. So go over here, take a look, and there it is in the catalog. So each and every time I only generate out one file, and it's always going to overwrite the previous file. I did this as a conscious choice because I don't ever want this to grow so large and just continue outputting files and making things confusing. The idea here is that eventually I would literally just be scraping the databases straight from the website, pulling them down and looping over and finding any of the mismatched items as they update. Because as they update databases, they actually change naming conventions, which is incredibly frustrating, which you can see by just basically that rename functionality, right? So we're going to go ahead and run that rename with commit, and we're going to watch it go ahead and change all those files, right? So this gave me a list of all these files that it changed, right? As you can see on little things like this where it's like, man, it changed this because, that right there, right? So you can see the differences in where it changes things. This didn't have this, etc., etc. And what you actually see here is that we created a rollback file. So let's take a gander at that. So here's our rollback. And what this did was actually swap everything that we just did. So essentially the source became the destination and the destination became the source. It just did a reverse, created a little file, a little YAML file that we could read in and actually reverse our actions. So if we go back here and we run this command once again without the commit, just actually searching to see if we find any games or if it did its job or not. So let's see. Yep, doesn't find any games. So now if we actually say wanted to roll this back, we could go to the rollback, we'd go to data rollback Atari Jaguar, hit that, it goes through and renames everything back to what it was, right? So if we, once again, run this guy, it should all find those files again. Exactly, so they're all back to what they were. So the rollback functionality does work just fine, which is really nice. So it's, as a program, it's not always going to be 100%. The matching convention that I use to find the ROMs is I'd give it about a 90. I'm sure you can do better out there, but essentially what it does is it breaks down this name. So it strips off any junk that's in parens or brackets or anything like that, and then strips out any special characters that you would find in a name, and then replaces everything in between with stars. So basically it just creates one giant glob out of the entire name, and it does pretty well. And then it goes through, and with the matches it finds, it takes that base name and it matches the parts and it matches the length. So essentially it shouldn't get too many false positives. I haven't really seen any with this, but I haven't gone over the larger ROM sets as of yet. So this will be posted up on my GitHub. I hope you guys enjoy it. You guys can pull it down, fork it, post issues, do whatever you like. But thanks a lot. I appreciate the feedback, and I hope you enjoy, and I hope it saves you the many hours that it saves me. Thanks a lot, guys.